Welcome to WFPC Podcasting, your local source for the heart and history of Pike County, Indiana. And now, here's your host, Randy Harris.
Welcome to WFPC Podcasting. This is a weekly look at news, information, and the people in and around Pike County. It's always good on WFPC to visit with longtime friends. Recently, we had a chance to talk with Howard Andy Anderson, a longtime Pike County teacher and coach who had a dual career with the Army and Army Reserves. Years ago, I had the opportunity to speak with a couple of Andy's social study classes. It didn't take long to realize that he had a lot of real-life stories to add color to his students' lessons. Some highlights of our recent discussion chronicled his beginnings on a farm in Cuzco, Indiana, the consolidation of Cuzco High School to Dubois High School, then on to Butler University to learn under Tony Hinkle, a transfer to Oakland City College, and then his military career, and then coaching career that started in Francisco, stopped back home at Dubois, then Otwell, and finally at Pike Central. Here are some highlights of our conversation.
I know when I came to Otwell, Posey Scraper told them to go get me if they could, and Roger Davis. I coached 1 year at Francisco my freshman year, and then I went in service. And when I come out of the Army...
So take us back, give us some years. You started out in Cuzco, Indiana.
Yeah.
When did you leave Cuzco?
After my freshman year.
And then...
I went there 9 years. They discontinued that high school. It was too small. We only had 29 students in the senior high school.
Wow.
And
so did they merge into Jasper? Or?
No, we consolidated in... Well, we had a choice. One of the reasons our enrollment had dropped so low, all the kids living over on Long 56, they were already transferring out to French Lick.
Wow.
And they offered a couple more subjects in math and physics and some things. And so we had a farm. And I was an only boy. And I went my freshman year to Butler, and I had a scholarship. My dad lost his other leg. And I was the only boy, and I wasn't no way I could do much staying in Butler. So I transferred to Oakland City College. And I could be home on
weekends.
I played basketball down there, but I could be home on weekends, and I could come home in emergency to fill up theaters and stuff. And I did that some. And then, so I got my degree, teaching degree.
So where did you play high school basketball? At French Lick?
No. I played 9 years at Cuzco my freshman year,
right.
And it was discontinued.
Right.
So a lot of the kids over on Highway 56, Hillham and Crystal were already transferring out to French Lick. And
even though they were in Dubois County.
Oh, yeah.
But they sent them to Orange.
Yeah. And then they were actually, well, a couple of them's dad taught up there. In fact, you remember Bill Wackert?
I know that name.
Well, he was attorney and judge here in Dubois County. And his dad was principal at Jasper Elementary, junior high. So he was riding to work with his dad, our school down here at Jasper with his dad. He was a brain. He ended up, I commissioned him a lieutenant in the reserves. He made colonel. He replaced me as colonel of the Jasper unit. And Greg Sturm, he played on a Jasper team, went to Sim State. And Bill was a guard on the team. He was short. I know when we go to summer camp, we always had a basketball tournament. We won about 3 years in a row. I had those guys. And then we had a guy that played for Kentucky, and his unit was satellited on my unit. So we dominated that for a couple, 3 years. His dad was Alex Groza. Never heard of him. He was a football kicker.
Oh, Groza. I'm with you.
Well,
I
then
got
he
it.
had a younger brother, Lou Groza,
Yeah.
and he played basketball for the Indianapolis Olympians. And I was a freshman there that year, so yeah, I got to know all them guys. And
Hadn't thought about that for a while, but yeah.
yeah, I got quite experience from all that. I coached. I can't remember the name of all them guys I had, but we were one game shy of coming back to the States with the division baseball team and basketball team.
Wow.
But they were loaded up. I mean, they had a unit there, and they had a colonel, and he had a way of getting them better players.
So you were active military 4 years?
No, 2.
2 years.
I volunteered for the draft, and after 15 months, I was direct commissioned to lieutenant.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then what happened? Why did you give that up after 2 years?
Well, I love teaching and coaching, but I stayed in the active reserve.
Oh, you were in the reserves for 40 more years, weren't you?
42. Till I was 60, and I had to get out.
Huh.
They retired me. Yeah. I could have stayed longer if I'd have wanted to move to Livonia, Michigan.
Wow.
Command headquarters. And they had made me chief of staff, and that moved me closer. By moving me to Fort Wayne, that moved me closer to Livonia, Michigan. But then when it come time to get a star, they said, you're going to have to move to Livonia. And I said, no, I'm not. I've got a good job tenure in Pike County, and I love teaching and I love the Army, but I stayed active in the reserve till I was 60.
That's great.
So I got my points and everything.
You were so passionate about teaching.
Yeah.
You taught well past most teachers retire.
I was 65 and a half when I retired.
Oh, I thought you were older than that.
No.
So you taught until what, 96, 97?
98.
98.
I think that was my last, 98, 99 maybe, whatever it adds up to 42 years.
All right.
I had 42 and a half, see, because my birthday was in December, so I started early school.
So,
5 and a half.
okay, take us through Oakland City College.
I went to Butler my freshman year.
You went to Butler, then Oakland City.
Yeah, 3 years.
And you graduated, give me a year, 1950.
5. And then I was going to go in the military right away. And this teacher was over secondary teacher placement. I can't think of his name now. He called me in and he said, you got a job coaching if you want it this year, next September, August. And I said, well, I've got the Army ahead of me. And I said, I just figured I'd go ahead and get it over with. He said, they've already checked your draft board in Oakland City, or in Jasper. And they said, he's probably safe for another year before he'll be drafted, because we're not drafting him that young, 21 and a half. And they said it's just a matter of if he wants to take a risk, because we can't guarantee that they won't increase our quota. So the school board told me, the trustee down in Francisco, he said, we've already checked up there, and they said, he's probably safe for a year. And I wanted to coach, so I thought, well. So I went down there and I coached. They had won 16 ball games about 3 years in a row, and they graduated 8 seniors in a small school. And they had one boy coming back. His name is Green. He had an older brother graduated the year before I went there, Then he had a younger brother that was a freshman, and he had played, and Danny McElhenney, they'd played a little on the varsity. And then we had a boy move in from Fort Branch. Dad had a farm right on the border, and he wanted to come to Francisco, so he turned out to be a real good basketball player, a real aggressive sophomore. And he ended up centering, and I had Danny McElhenney and Gordon Green. He had a younger brother, Green. And well, come up, we won 9 basketball games. They hired me, they said, you'll be lucky to win a game. We went down and beat Cynthiana. They were Posey County champs the year before and had 3 starters back. So we were going down there, and Danny McElhenney's dad always drove the school bus. And he drove for me. Going down there, he said, now, I've seen this team, you know. I've seen them all. I've been driving the school bus to these games. He said, they got 3 starters back, Coach. And he said, you lost 8 seniors. He said, you're probably going to get your ears pinned back tonight, boy. I said, well, I don't know, might. I said, I just want a good effort from my kids. We went down and we beat them. And that was an upset. And come home, bus driver, Danny McElhenney's dad said, well, you had a good night. He said, maybe they had a bad one. He said, but you got the job done. We'll give you credit for that. He said, well, you might win another game or 2. Well, we won. We were 8-1, and my sophomore center come down with pneumonia, and he missed 5 straight ball games. He was my leading rebounder and scorer, and we lost them by a combined total of 8 points. I still think we could have won 3 of them at least. But anyway, we won 9 or 10, I don't remember now. We played a lot of bigger schools, Princeton, Fort Branch, and Owensville had some big boys at that time, Cynthiana, Poseyville, and some of them county schools down there were pretty good.
This has been almost 70 years, and you still remember all that. Oh, my.
Well, yeah. I mean, I remember Herschel Edmonds. He lives right down the highway on 57.
Right.
56 it is, isn't it? He had moved in from Ohio, Hamilton, Ohio, and he had played freshman ball up there, but he turned out to have real good hands. He wasn't very big, but he could shoot it, and he was death at the free throw line. And then I had a Bailey boy, Gordon Green, Kenny Adler, and Danny McElhenney. That was my starting 5. Now, I had 6 freshmen on the 12, and they could all help me a little. The 2 older Worth boys had graduated, but their younger brother was Dennis, and he was a pretty good ball player.
So you spend a year at Francisco.
Yeah.
And then what?
I went in the Army.
2 years. So that's 56 and 57?
57, 58.
57, 58.
Yeah, and while I was in there, I got commissioned after 15 months, and they said, are you going to stay with us? I said, well, I like the military, but I love coaching. And they said, well, if you want to make a career, you know, you'd be better off to get started. I said, yeah, I know that, but I said, I'm an only boy, and I lost an uncle in World War II. And I said, my dad and mom, they know I got to serve my obligation, but they don't want me volunteering for nothing. Because Dad and his younger brothers got zapped in World War II in Germany, right after they crossed the Maginot Line. And they had a fear for the Army. Dad had 5 younger brothers served. Anyway, I wasn't wanting to dodge it, so I got that year in, and I said, well, I'm not getting any younger. I better get this over with, this boot camp and stuff. When you get, I'm already 21, 22. I said, I don't know if I want to go in the military that late. So I went on and I volunteered for the draft. And then 15 months later, they commissioned me, and they said, "Are you going to stay?" And, well, I was married. Didn't have any children, but I was married. And, yeah, it wasn't good for, my wife wasn't going to like the military. I knew that. So.
And where was Joe from? Where was she from? Was she from?
She's from Oakland City.
Okay.
You know Hubert?
Yes, I sure do.
That's my brother-in-law.
Okay, I forgot. I knew that once you said it, but I forgot that.
Yeah, he's tight as his dad. No bad trait.
Right. So, Oakland City, where you get out of the military, then where do you go? Did you go to Otwell?
No. You're in Frisco, military active duty. They want me to stay, and I said no, but I'll stay in the reserve. And I was still thinking about staying in, and I came home on a leave. I'd already been overseas, and I had to finish my stint down at Fort Benning. And well, I love teaching and coaching. And so I told him, the colonel, I said, I will stay he was from Oakland City originally, Emil Cox. And he wanted to commission me direct. He knew my wife's family, but he didn't know me. And he was chief staff of the 10th Mountain Division. And I had a picture of him. He had commissioned me. But when I had my house fire in '98, all my pictures and everything burned up. He was quite a guy. He was chief staff, 10th Mountain Division. He's the one that pinned me. But anyway, I said, I'm going to get out, but I will stay active in reserve. So I had stayed in that till I was 60, and then I had to get out. I could have stayed if I'd have wanted to take a star. I'd have bought 2 more years, but I'd had to move to Livonia, Michigan.
Right.
Command headquarters, and that messed up my teaching career, and I stayed active in reserve until I was 60, and then I checked out.
We'll be right back. But first, let's take a minute to hear from our sponsors.
WFPC Podcasting is sponsored in part by Hathaway Excavating and Rock Yard, located right here in Pike County on State Road 64, just west of the Arthur Junction near the new Pike County EMS building. Besides excavating and dirt work, Hathaway Excavating adds a rock yard to their bundle of services, along with all kinds of dirt work, septic cleaning, septic installs, and always local friendly service. Hathaway Excavating and Rock Yard, 812-582-2646. Recently, the real estate market has been unpredictable. But at Harris Real Estate, we still have clients looking for homes and properties. Let us help you sell your home and or property and or find your next one. We're local. We know the business. We know the community. Harris Real Estate has listed and sold hundreds of properties right here. Harris Real Estate, 812-380-1065. And when you wash your car or vehicle on a regular basis, there are many advantages. You're easier to see, you preserve the life of your vehicle, help maintain its value, protect its paint, prevent corrosion, and it just looks better. It only takes 6 quarters or your credit card to get it started. Stop by Petersburg Car Wash today. Petersburg Car Wash, home of the springtime yellow Mustang. 401 South 9th Street, Petersburg. Thanks to you, our audience, WFPC Podcasting is growing. Since the first episode was launched May 28th, 80,000 views, including full episodes and social media views, have come in, and it's growing. People are coming back and watching the original programs for the first time. We appreciate you. If you have a business or product that you would like to advertise, and if we're a good fit for each other, contact us, 812-354-2006. Thanks again for watching. So when did you come to Otwell? Was that 62?
No. Got to think on that. Graduated college in 55, taught a year at Frisco, went in the military 2 years. That'd be in 56, 57, 58, I got out. And I wasn't out yet. I was home in about the middle of August, and I had to do a short stint to get my full 2 years at Fort Benning it was. And while I was home, somebody called out and told the principal, A.J. Kreisper at Dubois, that Andy's home on leave. And he called out my sister's house, her husband. They had a turkey and hen operation, and I was visiting with them. Both my dad and mom had retired in Greencastle, and I was down there a week on the farm with my grandparents. They said, "Come down, we want to talk to you." And I went down, and they said, "We've had a little difficulty we need a social studies teacher, and we've had 2 of them. They served a year. It didn't work out for whatever reason. They disciplined a lot of them young people. And finally, A.J. Kreitzer said, "Ralph, somebody told me Andy's home on leave and he's visiting with his sister." Ralph called out there, my coach. He was still teaching coaching. He said, "Andy, come down. We want to talk to you." "Okay, I'll be down." And I went down. I said, "Well, they want me to stay on active duty," and I thought about it, but I like to coach and I like to teach. And I'm not getting any younger. So I said, "I got to finish up my tour." And it's okay. "We got a job for you." So I went down and I finished up my tour, and they want me to stay in there. And I said, "Well, I got a chance to go home and teach in my home school, and I like teaching, coaching, and I'll stay active in reserve." So that's what I done. I come home, and Jasper had a straight leg MP unit. So I loved the infantry. So the command sergeant major said, "Well, we got a job for you at Dale, Indiana. We need a company commander." And I said, "I'm a second lieutenant. That calls for a captain." He said, "You can handle it." So I ended up down there for a couple of years. They moved that unit to Livonia, Michigan. So they moved me to Jasper. They had a job for me. I liked it. Good summer work.
Mm-hmm.
So I went there, and I was there a couple of years. Then I made major. No major slot in Jasper. And guard said, "Well, they'd take me." And I said, "No, I don't want no part of the guard. Too political." So they got me that job at Dale, and then when I made rank, well, they moved me to Terre Haute, and then I made colonel up there. And then I moved to ARCOM headquarters, Fort Ben Harrison. And then I was up there, I guess, 3 years. And that got to be a chore. Then they made me chief of staff, and I met a Wednesday night staff meeting every week. I did that for about 2 or 3 years. And I told them, I said, "I can't cut this anymore." So I stayed active in reserve, and I spent a lot of summers, a lot of retirement points. So that's what I did till I was age 60.
Mm-hmm. So when do you think you went to Otwell?
I got off active duty in 58. I guess that's when I went to Otwell. No, I went to Dubois.
You went to Dubois for
2 years.
A couple years.
Then I went to Otwell.
So that brings us up to about 1960?
Yeah, August of 60. That reminds me, I moved in there the week the mill caved in at Otwell. I had Gunner there.
There's you with Gunner Wyman.
Huh?
That's you and Gunner Wyman.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's original.
Yeah.
He's a Vincennes, and he come up there from Tell City.
Right.
And then he went north for, I think he went to East Chicago one year.
Mm-hmm.
But then he came back down south.
Mm-hmm.
Where'd he go?
I'm going to have to look it up.
Yeah, I can't remember for sure, but he came back south. And I think he might end up back in Kentucky.
He may have gone to Terre Haute for
He
briefly.
did. And then he went to East Chicago one year.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't like that up there.
Mm-hmm. Different style of basketball, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So let's go back to Otwell, and you're preparing this team that ends up winning a sectional.
Yeah.
You've just got a handful. You've got a handful of players, but wow, they all knew each other's move.
Yeah.
That makes a difference.
Yeah, well, some of them like Barrett. That's Barrett there, I think. Where's Matters?
He's in there somewhere.
Well, Matters was a year ahead of Barrett.
Is Matters is
Steve
in this
Wiseman,
picture, isn't it?
Or Steve Barrett and Rick Wiseman.
They were juniors.
Yeah,
right?
they were a year behind.
That's that's a lot of talent.
Yeah, they were pretty good. That's Steve, isn't it?
Yeah. Is that Wiseman in the center?
Huh?
Is that Wiseman in the middle?
Yeah, Wiseman and Vaughn, they're the two tallest I had.
Is that Mike?
They're about 6 foot probably. I listed them 6'1", 6'2".
Intimidation?
Well, don't hurt. Anyway, they said Gunnar Wyman, he said, how in the hell you get kids to jump like that? I said, Gunnar, like everybody else, I guess. What do you mean like everybody else? I said, skip rope. He said, what kind of ropes you use? I said, I don't buy them cheap ones. They wear out. I went up to the hardware store and I bought me several feet of regular rope. And I said, I taped the ends of them. And I said, every boy's got a rope. I got them different lengths. Taller boys need a longer rope. I said, they can skip it backwards on one foot, change the other foot backward and do it forward. They can cross them forward and backward just like a boxer. I said, the trick is footwork. Rope skipping.
What gave you that idea?
I boxed.
Okay.
You're up on your toes. You build your calves. I boxed a little when I was a kid up in Indianapolis. My trainer was Shifty Dandu, and Kid Leaper was manager.
So is this Golden Gloves?
Well, yeah, Golden Gloves. I had 3 fights, and then I transferred from Indianapolis down to Oakland City, and that ended the boxing and everything. And I didn't have enough reach. I had to get inside, and I took a few punches. Mm-hmm. And, well, that wasn't my career.
Right.
But I thought I was tough. I wasn't bad.
Good.
But I wasn't tough.
I'm sure.
You know what I mean?
I do.
I didn't want cauliflower ears and fat nose. And,
right.
Yeah, anyway. It was fun. I had a couple of uncles that boxed. One of them got pretty good. He was in the Seabees. They done allow that on ship. That was one of the favorite pastimes on ship, Seabees. Yeah, they'd have matches.
So you get these 3rd and 4th graders skipping rope and getting their fundamentals down.
Well,
you got 5 years to work with them on that before they even go to high school, and then they're ready.
That Rick Wiseman, Steve Matters, and Steve Barrett, and that bunch.
That's a talented group.
And then them 2 little boys, Barretts, they were over there in the gym all the time. Otwell gym was open from noon on Sunday And it was open at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning as long as they wanted to play. And I was active in the Army Reserve, so Squirrely Barrett, C.J. Metters. I had another parent, Linus Wiseman.
Mm-hmm.
And I had different parents. You could trust them.
Oh, yeah.
And I could trust those kids. I could leave the gym unlocked. I left 2 balls in the Otwell gym. You can still go in there at the end of the bleachers. There's a little snap door. Opens up under the bleachers. And I'd forgot about it. I always kept 2 balls in there. And I taught the kids how to keep a little chip in the door and back there on the band room. And they could go in anytime they wanted. And I had one principal, he said, I don't think you ought to be doing that, Andy. Well, I said, well, just exactly why do you think I oughtn't to be doing it? He said, well, somebody will get hurt. Well, I said, hell, they might get hurt when I'm there, too. I said, the worst injury I ever had. I was right in the gym when he hit the stage. I said, that can happen anytime. But I said, there's usually a dad there. There ain't no horseplay going on. I'll guarantee you that. There won't be no horseplay. That gym's open, and it's going to stay open because the trustee said I could. And I said, you're in Terre Haute. He lived up by Sullivan. I said, you're not in Sullivan now. This is Otwell. Our kids know how to act. And I said, there's a dad around. And if there's anybody comes in, they'll put him on the run. If somebody comes in and tries to horseplay, but I said, I don't think anybody ever come in there. They knew me. We had order. That's how they got good.
First game of sectional. Looks like leading up to the sectional, you had pretty strong. What was your record that year before you go into sectional?
I think we're 17-3.
And then you've got.
We had a 20-0 team one year, but we didn't win a sectional.
So you go into the sectional after beating Chrisney. You go into the sectional and you play Washington, and you beat them 82-66.
Something like that.
Then you beat Bar Reeve 54-39. They were I'm assuming they were control, and they were 54-39.
Yeah, they held the ball on me. So I knew I had another tough game the next day.
North Davies?
Yeah, I knew that'd be a tough game because they were undefeated. They had just consolidated, and that coach had to pick a team from 32 lettermen, returnees.
So you beat North Davies in the last game of the 69 sectional.
Yeah. That was that new consolidated school.
Yeah, 80-77.
Yeah.
That's a pretty tight game.
Yeah, they led me. They had a 19-point lead.
Wow.
I think, something like that at one time at the half. And then they started holding the ball. And I had a pretty good trap press. So we put the trap press on. And you know what makes it press is the score and the crowd and the clock. And I had a trap press. And the idea of a trap is a box corner. And then you got to cover 3/4 of the court. So I had taught my kids, I learned that from Tony Hinkle. Basketball is a game of angles. And I played for a Butler graduate 3 years in high school. And you center them in the end of the triangle, and you push them to get them in a position where they can go in any direction, and the 3 of them can take any slow lob pass. It's yours. I learned that from Tony Hinkle and my high school coach.
Who learned it from Tony Hinkle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Game angle. Position, position, position. And you can cover that. And you anticipate. You don't anticipate on offense. You anticipate on defense. And you know a kid's going to go one way all the time. You just play that foot against that lead foot. He ain't going nowhere. You dare him to put it on the floor. I taught when I coached any left-hander, we're going to put your left foot to his left foot. You're going to dare him to go, invite him to go that way. He won't do it. He won't put the ball on the floor the other way. Most left-handers cannot put the ball on the floor right-handed.
You're a psychologist.
Well, that's the way it is. I learned a lot from Cabby O'Neill and Tony Hinkle.
Those are great ones to learn from.
Yep. And then my 8th grade freshman course was a Butler graduate. I started learning footwork as an 8th grader at Cuzco on an outside court.
Wow.
And we lived about a mile, our farm was. And if the river wasn't up, and then I had to walk the track south towards Dubois till I got across the river, and then our farm was on both sides of the railroad track. That's a spur line from Huntingburg, Jasper, French Lick. You can ride that scenic train yet, I think, sometime. And I'd walk down to our barn lot through the woods, go back where the trestle was to get on the track, walk across the Black Bridge, the railroad, going to French Lick, walk all the way above Cuzco, and Coach Sager would meet me up there. He could get into there that far. I had to walk over a mile when the floods were up. Later on, they put the dam in and raised the road across Patoka River between Cuzco and Dubois. You ever been through there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they don't get over much there anymore. No backwater. Yeah, I walked the track a few times to Dubois, sophomore year. Coach Sager, he would go out through Celestine, go to 145 into French Lick, and you could get to Cuzco up there on that side, and I'd walk up across the track to Cuzco, because we were a mile south across the river. And he'd pick me up. Then he'd keep me with him. If we had a Saturday game or a tournament or something on Saturday, holiday tournaments, stuff like that.
You had me come talk to your kids.
Oh, yeah.
A time or two.
Yeah.
And you were passionate about teaching.
Oh, yeah.
So was Tom.
That's all I ever wanted to do. From the time I was in the 5th grade, I wanted to be a teacher and a coach.
And boy, you did them both.
Huh?
And you did them both, and you did them well.
Well, thank you. I tried. I had a lot of fun, too.
How old are you now? 93? 92?
No.
92?
I'll be 92 in December.
Okay. That's coming right up.
December 16th, I'll be 92. Okay. Born 1933.
Great.
I think that figures out 92.
Andy, I'm sure our audience is going to appreciate this little talk we had with them.
Okay.
And I so appreciate you coming over.
I enjoy it.
We love to, history, understanding where we come from. That helps us. That helps us figure it out. It's a different world today, isn't it?
Pardon?
It's a different world today than 1960.
Yeah, I subbed one day.
This was after retirement.
I hadn't been retired long.
So, and you retired in 98?
Yeah, I think it was. I think I had 42 and a half years, I think. Because I turned 65, so I taught a little over 65. That made me 42 years, and it helped my retirement, the factor they used.
Right.
That's why I taught that. I know A couple of guys said, "You're going to die in this place." I said, "Well, if I do, I'll die happy."
That's right. So what is, you've had a great long life. What's your secret for the rest of us on having a great long life?
Eat well.
What do you eat?
Huh?
What do you eat?
Oh, almost anything I want. I just watch how much I eat. I weigh about what I did when I got out of high school.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't go hungry, but I have at mealtime, I'm ready to eat.
Mm-hmm.
My granddads were the same way. I don't know, I guess it's just a habit.
That's a great habit.
You just, well, I know them old timers, they said, "We don't like to see you waste, but it's like leaving a little on your plate. Don't go get that second helping. You just eat a normal serving 3 times a day. Breakfast is the most important meal. Eat breakfast. That's what carries you in the evening." I taught my kids that. I told my parents that. I have meetings with my parents every year that I coach. I say, "Now these boys have got to eat 3 meals a day. They don't like breakfast." I said, "I'm going to force them into eating breakfast." I said, "They won't hold up if they don't eat breakfast. That carries you tomorrow evening." And pretty soon them kids, them Wiseman boys, all of them, Vaughn, all them kids that I ever coached, they put it away. And we had an understanding. Mrs. Johnson and Mrs. Wiseman, they were cooks at the Otwell school. And their boys, the team could go back for seconds. Anybody else could too. We had thousands of dollars in cafeteria fund. I learned that in high school, my high school coach. We didn't buy everything off commerce. We went farmers, got stuff.
It was a community.
Yeah, a lot of it was free. My uncle did that. Back in the 30s, Cuzco, probably the first school that actually had a cafeteria. Before everybody was required to have a cafeteria. Always eat well. Cuzco always won. They're healthy boys. Strong kids. My uncles, both sides of my house, they could run all day. Yep, Uncle Shorty played point guard, high school, quicker than a cat. Got zapped in Germany. Yep.
Andy?
Athletic, carried a BAR.
Well, we sure appreciate you coming in today.
I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us for this program of WFPC Podcasting. The program is brought to you by Harris Real Estate, Hathaway Excavating and Rock Yard, and Petersburg Car Wash. Please like the podcast and share with your friends so more people can hear about WFPC. You may visit it on our website, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you listen to your favorite media. Join us next Friday for another WFPC podcast exploring the people, information, and news right here in Pike County. See you next week.
Thanks for watching WFPC Podcasting, your local source for the heart and history of Pike County, Indiana. From back roads to town centers, we bring you the voices, stories, and news that shape our community. Join us on this journey through the past, present, and future of Pike County, Indiana. Tune in next week for the next episode of WFPC Podcasting.